That's why people are having fewer kids. We're becoming more selfish.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple.
Well,
so we're becoming a more selfish society. And that's why it's like, why would I want to have kids?
I think that's a horrible, venal, disgusting way to live life. He's selfish AF. Model of American morality here. Get yourself a statue in Washington.
The point is that you're interpreting what I'm saying incorrectly.
No, I'm interpreting what I heard.
Tom, I know you're getting your period. It's that time of the month. Relax.
Oh,
Hear
baby
me out.
princess. Oh, no, here it comes.
Tom,
We're going to have a mug. Calm down, princess.
Here's a man that lived 44 years of being selfish. Is that who I want to be? And they can sit there and say, I want to be like Adam. Then go do what Adam did.
Yeah, but you're missing the second half, Pat.
No,
it's not like I'm out here saying, I want to be like Bill Maher. And for the ladies, my mom's biggest accomplishment is having me and my sister, by far.
Exactly.
Not another job.
What do you think your dad's biggest accomplishment is?
Providing for the family.
Exactly.
And having kids.
Bro,
but providing.
Do you realize what a hero those two people are?
Look, you're about to watch one of the most important conversations you'll see this month, and I'm not exaggerating. Adam Sosnick just walked into a room full of men who've actually built families and empires, and he's about to make the case for why you should be selfish as f*** when you're young. And Tom Ellsworth, who didn't have his first kid until he was 44, is about to absolutely destroy that mindset in a way that I guarantee will make you rethink your entire life trajectory. Pat's sitting there watching this unfold, and you can already see where this is going. Because here's what Adam doesn't realize yet. He's arguing for a lifestyle that leads nowhere. And these guys are about to show him exactly why. This gets wild. Let's get into it.
PBD doesn't like this. I'm just.
He doesn't like what?
Like my mindset, only because we live different lives. One day I want to get to a point where I have a $20 million house with 4 kids. That's amazing. I strive for that. I know you're frustrated. I take the Uber, what have you. I'm projecting a little bit.
No, not at all.
But what I'm saying is,
we had a very direct conversation last night. I think that may apply for somebody that's living a selfish life just for them. I get that. And a lot of people do today, more than ever before. What is the whole purpose why people are having fewer kids? We're becoming more selfish.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple.
Well,
so we're becoming a more selfish society. And that's why it's like, why would I want to have kids? I'm going to lose my freedom. I'm going to lose my sleep. I'm going to lose my this. I'm going to lose my that.
Yes.
You know, all those things are going to be in place when you're going through that. But the greatest things in life are on the opposite side of selfishness. The greatest experiences in life are on the complete opposite side of that. And it's not even close, by the way. When I tell you not even close, it's not 2-to-1. It's not 3-to-1. It's 10-to-1. Everybody is trying to sell you right now on why get married? So much responsibility. Marriage has a lot of risk. We talked about a bunch of the risks about marriage last night. It's a lot of them that it has. Having kids, it's a lot of burden and risk, and you lose a lot of things. Yes, running a business, you have no life when you run a business. People will forget that when you start a business, you're working, God knows. Guy said something, the NVIDIA CEO the other day. Did you hear what he said, the NVIDIA CEO?
Jensen Huang.
Yeah, he typed this up to see if he can find it. He said such an interesting thing. NVIDIA CEO said, CEO work, you'll find a clip where he says, here it is, I found the clip. Don't work as on he explains the breakdown of work. He says, when I'm not working, I'm working. He says, when I'm on Sundays, I'm thinking about working. When I'm doing this, I'm thinking about. And most people will listen to that and they'll say, what? Who the hell wants this life, right? Is that the one, Rob, about work? Zoom in a little bit to see if that's the one. Go up a little bit. I live in the parish. I do my best in condition. My best work in that condition. I don't know if that's the one, Rob. Look at the one I just texted you right now. See if this is the one. It could be. It may not be because I'm not even listening to it. I just text you the one. But what's the point? So having a startup, a lot of risk. Running a company, a lot of risk. Moving to a state you know nobody, a lot of risk. Man. So I understand what you're saying. All I'm saying to you is a person watching this has to realize which life you want to live. The life that's all about you. I painted a picture to you guys last night, you and your friend, right? The two of you guys that were there at the cigar lounge. We left at 11:30, okay? Yeah, thinnies and thickies. But we were sitting there, we're talking about all these different stories. One of the things I said is the following. Okay, is this it, Rob, or no? Can you tell me if this is it? Because I hear audio somewhere.
I don't believe that's it.
Okay, then don't worry about it. So I said, you're 80 years old. What's your life look like? Go to your 80 years old. You're 80 years old. What does it look like? You want to be, when you're 80 years old, you think you and I are sitting there thinking, look how many cars I got? You're not thinking that. At 80 years old, you think your joy comes from your collections of money you have in the bank? Probably not. Is it the art collection? Maybe you appreciate it when there's a story behind it. You probably like stories and experiences. But what do you think you value at 80 years old?
How your kids are, how were raised, what they're doing, their success and everything.
Family, blood, relationships, friendships like this morning, late at last night, I sent him the text about the Hall & Oates, the falling out that they had.
Sad,
these guys, they're so out of touch.
You make my dreams come.
We're just out of touch.
Yeah, but
I'm thinking about.
Yeah, but the point is like 80, and then I asked these guys a question yesterday. I said, let me ask you, how old are you? He says 37. Yeah. I said, how old are you? He says he feels 37. Yeah. I said, okay, 43, whatever age you are, whatever age I am. Did you think you were going to be this age this quickly?
Hell no.
Tom, did you think you were going to be your age you are right now this quickly? Honestly.
No.
I never thought I'm going to be this age this quickly.
It goes fast, and that's why purpose is so much more valuable to me. I look forward to being 80. You know why? Because when I'm 80, that makes Bailey 40. When I'm 80, that makes Brooke 37. I look forward to the joy of seeing the impact they're making and what they're doing in the next generation. And one or both of them will probably have kids. And then when I'm 80, I intend to be standing in a classroom and teaching. I'm going to be taken out feet first one day while I'm working.
I believe you.
And it's not because, look at poor Tom saying he wants to work forever. No, I want to have purpose forever. That's the difference.
That's the part, Vinny. And for
I have a question for Tom when you're ready.
And you have to be, as the individual watching, the reason why people are like, well, I can't believe you bring this person. I can't believe you bring that person. I disagree with what he said. I disagree with what he said. Listen, I like conversations. And you as a big boy and a big girl, you get to make a decision what choices you want to make in your life. All I'm saying to you is, I never thought I was going to be 45. I'm 15 years away from 60. Vinny, you're 14 years away from 60. Yeah. Like this, Vinny. Yeah. Be Tyler. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Hands, age, wrinkles.
My back.
Your back. All this stuff you're thinking about, that comes with age. And this thing's going to go by very quickly. Yeah. Do you want to sit there? So I'm thinking I'm 80.
Okay, so let me break down what just happened here, because this is where Pat absolutely buried the lead, and most people probably didn't even catch it. He just painted the entire picture of what life actually looks like when you're 80. And Adam's sitting there nodding along like he gets it, but he doesn't. Not yet. And you can tell Pat knows he doesn't, because watch how he keeps circling back to the same point. Here's what Pat's doing that's so effective. He's not arguing philosophy. He's not making some abstract case about purpose and meaning. He's forcing Adam to actually visualize being 80 years old. Like, really sit there and think about it. What do you have? Who's around you? What matters? And the answer, the only answer that makes any sense, is family, relationships, the people you raised, the impact you made. Everything else, the cars, the money, the collections, nobody cares when they're 80. Nobody's sitting there going, man, I'm so glad I was selfish in my 30s. And then Tom jumps in with this fire about purpose, about being taken out feet first while he's still working. And Adam completely misses the point. He thinks Tom's saying work forever because you have to. No, Tom's saying I want purpose forever. There's a massive difference between those two things. One is obligation, the other is fulfillment. And Tom got that from building a life around service and family, not from sitting around being selfish AF in his 20s. Now, here's where Adam starts to defend himself, and this is where the whole thing starts to fall apart for him. He's about to say, well, I think people should be selfish when they're young, and then flip the switch later. And Tom's going to catch that immediately and rip it to shreds. Because you don't just flip a switch on character, man. You don't wake up one day and go, okay, time to care about other people now. It doesn't work like that. You practice who you are every single day. And if you spend your 20s and 30s being selfish, guess what you're programmed for in your 40s? More selfishness. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you buy Adam's take that you should be selfish when you're young? Or do you think Tom and Pat are right, that you're building your character from day one?
My room. I'm like, listen, guys, one of you guys gets these 2 pills. Who is it going to today? Right? At 80 years old. What are you going to do? Okay? Every one of my girls are one's gonna be wearing Viagra shirt, one's wearing a Cialis shirt, the other one's wearing a CRT shirt. This other guy's,
So the economy will be bad and they'll be rationing.
Yeah. However, at 80, you're sitting there, and your grandkids are sitting in your lap, you're telling them stories. Your son, your daughters, hopefully you've raised good citizens. They're doing what they're doing. You got friends and companionship around that. Their kids are friends with your kids. This is what life is all about. And then hopefully, if you've done well for yourself financially, you're able to enjoy it where you're not stressed out about money. You have money that's going to take care of your retirement. Your kids are, everything is in flow state. But it's very easy to fall for the selfish trap today. And when you do, 20, 30 years will go by like this, and a lot of exciting moments will be missed. But it is still, at the end of the day, your choice. I just think America's become a little too selfish.
I'm with you, and this is my point, is that your life needs to be selfless now. You have 4 kids and a wife. Tom has 2 kids and a wife. He needs to be more selfless. I would encourage Vinny right now, or anyone who's single, you should be selfish AF for now. But I've made the commitment that I want to be a father one day. I want to have multiple kids. I want to be, with a woman and have kids. I've already had my relationship, didn't work out, whatever. I would encourage anybody that's single, be at least 80% selfish, at least. Because at some point, you're going to have to be 50-50, if not 80-20 the other way, right? So
hang on. Do you really feel that way? Do you really feel that when you're young, they should be selfish, and at some point you just flip the switch and it turns off?
I do. I don't think
so. You practice. You practice what becomes your character and your purpose. You practice it every day.
So what percentage should you be selfish?
It's not, the word isn't selfish. Is when you're young, you should be prudent and maybe delay certain gratifications. Go on vacations with your friends, do things, but you shouldn't be balling out and overspending.
No,
you should be sensible when you're young, but you can be service oriented. And so when you're talking about be selfish AF, you know what? I think that's a horrible, venal, disgusting way to live life.
Tom.
You could be servant-oriented with your family and your friends while still being economically sensible and conservative and saving, and maybe delay a little gratification for when you get there, because that same attitude of service and selflessness that's there will be present when now you're pouring that into your family, your children, your wife when that chapter comes. Mm-hmm. I think that because when I'm young, you know what I did? I helped with little political campaigns, little city councilman, West Hills. I did it because I didn't have kids, so I had a little bit of time to help. I invested in helping my grandparents' friends that lived in Woodland Hills, and one, he had a stroke, couldn't walk so much. I would come over on Saturdays, help him for an hour in the morning. I would go down to Vaughn's at Topanga and Ventura and get groceries for him. I was living a selfless life because I had a few extra hours to do it, and it felt fulfilling, very fulfilling. And I saved, and I was conservative, and did I want to have a wife? I longed for the moment to have a wife. I longed for a moment I could have kids, but I wasn't selfish AF. I was trying to live a prudent life and having a life of service at the time, which would become the life of service as a parent and and encouraging other parents and other people. I think you program yourself from the beginning. You don't just flip a switch that says, okay, time to not be selfish anymore.
All right, Tom. Well, I appreciate that, and thank you. By the way, what age did you get married and have your first kid?
I got married when I was almost 40.
Okay, and what age were you when you were your first kid?
Well, it took us a while to have kids.
What age were you when you had your first kid?
44.
Okay, so you not exactly started young, Tom. What's my point?
I didn't. What are you painting
Tom,
here? I didn't flip the selfish switch off.
But Tom, you're giving a speech about saving money to the guy whose motto is save that money. The irony is ridiculous.
The guy who just said be selfish AF. Model of American morality here. Get yourself a statue in Washington.
The point is that you're interpreting what I'm saying incorrectly.
I'm interpreting what I heard.
Tom, I know you're getting your period. It's that time of the month. Relax.
Oh, baby princess. Here it comes.
Tom,
we're going to have a mug. Calm down, princess. I think everybody sips from it and is going to be saying, you know what? Everybody is right. Adam needs to calm down.
Okay, Tom. Thank you for that. The point is, you didn't get married when you were 22, Tom. You didn't get married when you were 23, Tom. You were 33. You got married and had kids when you were in your mid-40s.
But Mr. Ellsworth, does that mean he's selfish?
A lot of my friends got married.
But you're misinterpreting what selfish and selfless means. I'm going to try to make my point here. Selfish means you're more focused on what you're contributing to yourself and society, and you're focusing on your purpose rather than somebody else's purpose. So I often say purpose over pleasure, purpose over the other P word for Boontang. Improve yourself. Now, it depends on if you're a man, if you're a woman. If you're a woman, we all know when women in college, when they get out of college, they go through their hoe phase from 20 to 25. I encourage you not to continue your hoe phase into your 30s, or you're going to end up with like Chelsea Handler. But I also say that a man, his selfish phase.
Dude, did you catch what just happened? Because this is one of the most devastating moments in this entire conversation, and Adam doesn't even realize it. He thought he had a gotcha moment with Tom. Oh, Tom, you didn't get married until you were 40. You didn't have your first kid until 44. So clearly you were selfish too. And then Pat just casually drops, I got married at 30, had my first kid at 32. Game over. Because now Adam's entire argument falls apart. Pat built his empire and started a family young. He didn't wait until his 40s. He didn't spend decades being selfish AF. He was building, grinding, creating, and being selfless at the same time. And that's the point Tom was trying to make that Adam completely missed earlier. You don't have to choose between building success and living a life of service. You can do both. In fact, you should do both. Because practicing selflessness early makes you better at everything. Business, relationships, fatherhood, all of it. And then Tom comes back with this absolute haymaker about not flipping the selfish switch. He's saying, I didn't become selfless when I got married, Adam. I was already living that way. Tom was helping his grandparents' friends, volunteering for local campaigns, doing grocery runs for a guy who had a stroke. Why? Because he had time and he saw a way to serve. That's not being selfish. That's being purposeful. That's building character. And when the time came to be a husband and a father, he was ready because he'd been practicing that mindset his entire adult life. Adam keeps trying to reframe selfish as just focused on yourself and your purpose, like that somehow makes it better. But here's the thing. That's not what selfish means, man. Being focused and disciplined and building your career, that's not selfish. That's called being responsible. Selfish is when you make everything about your own pleasure, your own comfort, your own gratification, and you don't contribute to anyone else. There's a difference. And Tom sees right through the word games. Now watch what happens next, because Adam's about to bring up Chelsea Handler and Bill Maher as examples of people who stayed selfish forever. And he's not wrong about that. But the problem is, he's still defending the path that leads there. He's saying, be selfish now, but don't end up like them. Okay, but how do you avoid becoming them if you're practicing being them in your 20s and 30s? You don't. That's the whole point these guys are making. This is where Pat really starts to nail him on his parents. And this is going to be brutal. Let me know in the comments, though. Do you think Adam's going to realize what just happened here? Or is he too locked into his position?
Extend longer. So, Pat, how old are you when you got married and had your first kid?
30 and 32, 33.
Okay. Sound like you got married young. So I would encourage men, when I say selfish, I'm not like, live for yourself, don't do anything, spend all your money. I'm saying focus on yourself and improve yourself. What's my point? So for you women out there, you have to ask yourself the following question. Do you want to end up like Chelsea Handler? Do you want to be 50 years old?
We're not doing soft.
And if no, or if you want to be Bill Maher.
Hang on a second. I get what you're doing.
The point is, I encourage men to be more selfish.
Yeah, and by the way, guess what? That's why we have debate, and you make your argument, and then an audience has to sit there and say, here's a man that lived 44 years of being selfish. Is that who I want to be? And they can sit there and say, I want to be like Adam. Then go do what Adam did.
Yeah, but you're missing the second half, Pat. No, it's not like I'm out here saying, I want to be like Bill Maher and always be selfish. You can change and adapt and say, do I want to have kids when I have millions in the bank or be broke? It's very beautiful to be selfless when you're broke.
Let me ask you a question. Did your parents have you when they were millionaires?
No, they didn't. They financially struggled like crazy. I did not grow up rich whatsoever.
What do you think was your mom and your dad's biggest accomplishments in life?
And this is a message for the ladies. My mom's biggest accomplishment is having me and my sister, by far.
Exactly.
Not another job.
What do you think your dad's biggest accomplishment is?
providing for the family.
Exactly.
And having kids.
Bro,
but providing.
Do you realize what a hero those two people are?
Yes, but they have different hero-making abilities.
No,
so let me ask Tom a question.
Tom, stay on. No,
okay,
don't digress. Just stay on this.
I'm not digressing.
To me, those guys are heroes. Okay, I'm not gonna
just because they had kids.
It's no, because they fulfilled their responsibilities of being a parent, and for me, trust me when I tell you this. Their greatest joy, your mom's greatest joy, is when you're around and you give her a hug and she sees you. It's her greatest joy.
I agree.
And your father, whatever kind of a relationship you guys had, you're one of his greatest joys. You and Jen, you guys are their greatest joy. It's a beautiful thing. You know, I have a lot of friends that think like you, and a lot of people that sit there and say, well, let me tell you, here's what I'm going to do. Da, 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 da. Okay, great, no problem. Listen, ever since I was 6 years old, I wanted to be a dad. I just wanted to be a dad. Yesterday, we're having a meeting with the talent dinner. Who's sitting on my lap the entire time?
Dylan boy.
Brooklyn's running around here, making all the noise. Senna's doing the bicycle stuff. Tico's over there working out, doing 500 squats out for, he's in this new phase of one of the big victories. There is something very special about that. Our relationships, sitting down, friendships. As you age and you're going through what you're going through, trust me, I'm not at a place of the selfish score being super low. Yeah, you've read my book, and Choose Your Enemies Wisely. I'm not sitting there saying being super low is also very productive for the marketplace, because we need you to have certain aspirations and things you're in pursuit of.
Of course.
Yes. But if you're saying you want to do this, but the life you're living is this, but you're saying you want this, and you're still living the selfish life age at a certain age too much, I don't know. I think you're...
All right, so let's break down what we just watched, because this was not even close. Tom and Pat absolutely demolished Adam's entire worldview here. And I don't think Adam even fully grasped how badly he got exposed. And I'm not saying that to pile on the guy. I actually respect that he was willing to have this conversation publicly. But the reality is, his argument didn't hold up for even 5 minutes. Here's what Adam walked in believing. You should be selfish when you're young, make your money, do your thing, and then flip the switch later when you're ready to have a family. Sounds reasonable on the surface, right? A lot of people think this way. But Tom and Pat just showed you exactly why that's a recipe for disaster. Because character isn't something you turn on and off like a light switch. You build it every single day through your choices, your habits, the way you spend your time, the way you treat people. Tom didn't wait until he was married to start living a selfless life. He was serving people in his 20s and 30s, helping elderly friends, volunteering, saving responsibly. And when the time came to be a husband and father, he was ready because he'd been training for it his whole life. That's the move. That's what actually works. And Pat? Pat just casually dropped the fact that he got married at 30 and had kids in his early 30s while building one of the most successful media companies in the country. So this whole idea that you have to choose between success and family, complete myth. You don't. You can build both at the same time if you're disciplined and purposeful. Now look, Adam's not entirely wrong about one thing. You should be focused and intentional when you're young. You should be building, learning, improving, stacking your money, delaying gratification. All true. But that's not selfishness. That's discipline. Selfishness is when you make it all about you, your pleasure, your comfort, your ego. And if you train yourself to live that way in your 20s and 30s, you're not magically going to become a selfless, purpose-driven father and husband in your 40s. You're going to be Bill Maher or Chelsea Handler. And nobody, I mean nobody, wants to end up like that. Here's the verdict. Tom and Pat won this one decisively. Adam came in with a thesis and they dismantled it piece by piece. And the crazy part is Adam still doesn't fully see it. He's still defending this idea that you should be selfish AF when you're young. But the audience sees it. You see it. And I guarantee a lot of young guys watching this just had a light bulb moment about what kind of life they actually want to build. If you're watching this and you're in your 20s or 30s, here's my take. Don't fall for the trap. Don't buy the idea that you should spend a decade being selfish and then somehow transform into a selfless person later. Start now. Build the character now. Serve people now. Because 20 years from now, you're going to look back and either be grateful you started early, or you're going to be filled with regret that you wasted the most important years of your life chasing pleasure instead of purpose. That's what we do here at MB. we break down the conversations that matter and give you the real take. If this hit home, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment and let me know. Do you agree with Tom and Pat, or do you think Adam has a point? I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp.